Welcome to my channel. This tutorial series covers principles of fit in CLO. In this video, we will learn how to address the fit issues of a bodice with horizontal fold lines bunching across the lower back and a slightly raised front waistline. Let's get started. All right, so right away, you might not notice many issues other than if you look from the side profile, there is definitely the back length is longer than the front length, which isn't that big of a deal in this garment because there's no skirt. But if you did have, maybe if this was a full dress, the skirt would probably push up this part of the garment so that you would cause this bunching here, and that's when you would really notice the issue. Just knowing the style that this bodice is supposed to be, I know that it is supposed to be parallel all the way around at the waistline, and so I do know that there is an issue here. I don't think that on this particular example that the front bodice is too short, but you know, it could always use a little more length just depending on where you aesthetically want to put the waistline of your bodice. With that being said, let's go ahead and start with our pre-fitting checklist. We're going to turn on our fit map over here in the 2D display options. That's already on, and that'll just show us where things are really causing some stress. We're going to make sure that the appropriate fabric is assigned in the property editor, and then we also have our 1 inch or 3 centimeter grid applied to the texture, and those are available on my Patreon. I like to apply seam taping to the neckline and the arm's eye just to make sure that they're not unintentionally stretching out of shape. And then I like to make sure that my garment is on high res. So I'm able to work at a particle distance of 5 millimeters. But if your computer can't handle that, then, you know, just whatever it can handle will be more than enough. Skin offset, I like to keep around 1 for a garment like this, which is pretty close to the skin, as opposed to a coat, which might stay farther away from the skin. Okay, and then what we were already doing is kind of coaxing the fabric around to try to see where the fit issues, you know, really are here. And I can tell that really the front, there's not much that needs to be done. All of the issues are in the back. Just as a last measure, I like to just go ahead and copy and paste my pattern in the 2D window, and then right-click with the Transform Pattern tool and choose Archive, just to have a record of kind of where it came from, help me keep track of my fitting adjustments. Okay, with that being said, essentially all that needs to happen is that this waistline below the arm's eye just needs to be raised, probably about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. So going to my back, you know, you could use the slash and spread tool because we don't want to affect the side seam. We really only want to raise this from the side seam through center back. And so you can grab your you know, slash and spread tool and just kind of wherever you want, just take that out like this. The reason I'm not doing that is because it's going to tilt that dart in a way that I find non-attractive, and it also will create a curve in the center back. And by the time I take out that curve and then realign my grain to be, you know, parallel to center back and then rotate, it's just a lot of extra steps. So I decided that for this particular pattern, that's not the way to do it. Maybe your pattern, though, that is the easiest way. All right, so another option, of course, is I could just draw an internal line that shortens this. And this is kind of nice because I can, you know, change the curve to keep that center back waist at a 90-degree angle. And then I can just cut this, and then all I'd have to do is retrue the dart. That's actually a pretty good option, and you're welcome to do that if that also makes sense to your pattern. However, because, you know, my dart's already trued and I kind of know what's going on here, all I'm going to do, and this is where the actual tutorial begins, is I'm going to go to the Edit Pattern tool, or the Z hotkey, and that's right here in the 2D toolbar. And I'm just going to box select points L, 2B, which is down here, 2C, and 2A. So basically the dart and the center back. And on the keyboard, because I have my increments set to a 1/4 inch each, I'm just pressing the up arrow on the keyboard once and then twice. Okay, and you can see when I did that, there's some weirdness going on here. That's because there's a curve here. All I'm going to do is right-click that and then choose delete all curve points. And then, you know, there's my straight line again. So when I simulate, you can see that that's kind of moving that back up. It's making a pretty good, if I make my avatar go away, it's making a pretty good parallel line with the center front. I could also lower the center front if I wanted to. But I think I'm just going to leave it here for now. Another thing that I want to do is just see if I can make this side seam a little bit more perpendicular to the floor. It doesn't have to be, but I think it's going to help some of these drag lines here if I do make it. So I'm just going to shift click with the edit pattern tool, points K and D, and then I'm just going to use the right arrow key to move these points over just a little bit on the x-axis. So when I simulate, yeah, that's a little bit nicer. And I'm using my little 3D hand to kind of pull these drag lines out just to make sure they're actually laying nicely. And honestly, you guys, that's about it. I do this alteration actually pretty frequently because, oh, hello, friend. Where did you come from? Okay, so I do these alterations pretty frequently on the CLO avatars because I do find that they tend to lean really far back, creating this hollow in their back. And so I just have to make sure that, you know, if I am making this in real life, that the posture is accurately representing the posture of the person that I will be making this for. So with that being said, that's about all there is to this. So thanks you guys for watching, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'm happy to help.